What's good? I said on my Facebook status that I'm going to be doing a documentary for the first time, let alone in 2 years. The last documentary that I did was Cult of Personality. Part documentary and part clips of random recordings. This is the start of it. I'm about to share something with y'all that I don't talk about very often. I've said and talked about a lot of things, except this. And for those that ever been in this situation or currently in this situation, take this story as motivation. For people that don't know me, or for those that know who I am, but don't really know my personal life, it goes on like this. In 2008, I got kicked out of my house because my mom's boyfriend wants to go ahead and try to have a say, and she actually listened to him when he's not really the best person in the world. He never gave people a chance to look at him and feel if they need to respect him or not. It seemed like because of the fact that he brings money into the house, that people like myself should automatically get on my knees and kiss his ass and bow down at his feet. When it comes to me, it didn't matter if I was 18, 19 at the time. You know, I'm a young adult, and regardless, you need to show me respect if I gotta show you some respect. But you see, you don't really like me very much because even from then and now, I stood my ground. Everybody that he probably knew, fair to say my mom as well, turned around and just kissed his ass. It's almost like he's the type that if he points his finger, you shut up. If he tells you to do something, you do it. Me? If he was to point a finger, I will bite it off. And if he was to tell me what to do, I would say, fuck you. That's just the way I am, and that's why, to this day, 2015, me 26, we still don't like each other. I can care less, because things are different. But anyway, when I think back about this month of June, y'all heard me talk about this month, bringing up the whole, checking the speaker, talking about the whole, breakups and relationships. But let me mention one weird thing about this month for me. That in this month, in 2008, that's when the journey of being on my own began. I moved to a former friend of mine's house. And mind you, the time that I got kicked out was 11:45 at night. So I ended up staying at a former friend's house. Told him what happened, told him what's going on, and the moms. Asked the moms to see if she could give me a ride so I can go pick up my stuff, because that's when people, my mom's and my mom's boyfriend or ex-boyfriend, was taking their stuff and moving it here. They moved here. I wasn't here when they moved. Barely said anything, gave everybody the cold shoulder, while my mom sarcastically laughed at me. Me and my mom's relationship ain't the best to one. But I would say that the way how we are now is better than it was 5, 6 years ago, if my math is correct. But and then looking back at that, it hurt because you're sarcastically laughing at me, you take me as a joke, you think that I was bluffing, but I was gone basically throughout the rest of the year. But at first, moving to my friend's house was a blast. It was. At the time, I was at this program where I was in summer school, but also working as security in Bank of America. And it was a program like a summer school class to help me prepare for like MCAS testing, and I get paid for going, not only graded. So that's actually part of the job. You're paid to go to classes, and let alone you do your hours for work. Pretty good deal, pretty good paycheck, you know what I mean? And that helped me with summer. I was making money, I was doing my thing. I felt like I was proving critics wrong until my job finished in August. Then the next month I started working in kids cab. I was a bus monitor. That went to an abrupt halt because things happened. They laid off some bus monitors, and I didn't have a job, and that's when the struggle began. Now, my friend, my ex-friend, he moved. He was moving, and he said that he wouldn't have room for me. So I ended up staying at his cousin's house. Once again, it started off being a blast, and then when time went on, it became a miserable, living, breathing hell. You see, when time went on, my ex-best friend got back in contact with an old ex-girlfriend of his in the past. And then she started coming around more. And funny that this chick is like very fucking huge, bigger than me, even to this day, still bigger than me. And I was smaller than this. She ended up moving in with this dude. My thing was, I've been in this new house, and hell, I always slept on the floor. And to be honest, there was more room than you can think. And that's when it hit me. They didn't want nothing to do with me. And then later on, I realized that his cousin and his family didn't want nothing to do with me either. And I would ask myself why. I personally haven't done anything except try to survive and struggle. I barely ate. I was small as it is, and I was losing a lot of weight. I was small. There's an old picture of me on Facebook that I took from MySpace. My hair was long as hell at the time, and I took a picture with no shirt on. As I look back at it now, I don't look at it the same way I did that at the time. At the time, I'm like, oh, I got a six-pack, oh, I'm sexy and all that shit. And I was proud of it, and I put that as my profile pic on MySpace at the time. And looking back at it now, I don't look at it the same light, because then I look at it and I look at myself now and I realize, God damn, I was so bony. I was so fucking small. I didn't eat nothing. Being there for like 6 months, there was barely any food. They barely made any money. They barely cooked dinner on an everyday basis. Every day, I felt like I didn't know what to expect. I lived every day as if it was my last. The littlest things became very huge for me, which was very, very bad. Especially being broke, hungry. I've had days where all I can do, if I wasn't going anywhere, all I could do was sleep, because that was the only way that my mind can get off things. And then when I get up, I'm calm. But I slept a lot. And if I had an opportunity, I went to my ex-girlfriend's house, spent the majority of the time there trying to find something to eat, and then go back. When it came to things like me finding a dime in that house, literally 10 cents, it was like winning the lottery to me. Because it almost be like, damn, it's been so long. You know what I do? And this is a true story. When I tell you this one thing that I would get out of that 10 cent will be my breakfast, lunch, and dinner, because it would be the only thing that I would actually eat. And that is a Laffy Taffy. A little ass piece of candy. A little ass piece of candy that I took bit by bit, and I took so much time because I didn't want it to go so fast, because that was the only thing that I would eat until the next day. I had to resort sort of kind of back to my old ways, and that is to steal. But this time, it wasn't stealing because it was something that I wanted, that I couldn't afford. Maybe it's something like that at the same time, but this was different. It was trying to survive. That if nobody's not going to help me, then I'm on my own. I remember I went to the store and I found a couple things to change. And I got myself a cheap honey bun. But I stole the expensive one, the bigger one, and I put it in my pocket. There was no cameras. Paid for the honey bun, and I left out of there with a buy one, get one free deal. I wasn't proud of it, but I knew what I was doing. I knew what I had to do. So I would eat the small honey bun first and save the big one for later in case I get hungry again. If there was time when everybody was doing takeout from the Chinese restaurant from down the street, everybody else would get like a full Chinese plate, and all I would get is leftover French fries. Now, a rare moment is this: that my former best friend's cousin's ex-girlfriend, I remember she came to the house. We all met her. I met her. And it was basically him, his ex, his cousin, and his ex. Basically all four of them in his room. While me and his two younger brothers was chilling, not doing anything. I was hungry. Me being the lone wolf, I did what I always did, and that's separate myself if I felt like I wanted to be alone. And my chill spot was on top of the refrigerator in the kitchen because I was small enough and light enough to actually climb up there and just sit there and think. My mind was always thinking. And somehow they had money and they ordered themselves food, and I gave a damn to offer me anything. Then I remember out of the blue, my ex-best friend's cousin's ex-girlfriend came out the room with a plate. She saw me on top of the refrigerator and she gave it to me. And it was a good amount of food. It seemed like she knew that I'm the smallest person, weight-wise, and I'm the only person out of the bunch that looked like that didn't eat a damn thing. And I remember like a few months after, because even before I get to the part, before I continue, when I moved here in April of 2009, a few weeks before my 20th birthday, we actually still kept contact. And she told me things that I never knew about. And that was, this pissed me off at the time. It was her idea to give me the plate. But my ex-best friend and his cousin behind closed doors are saying, oh, why are you going to give it to him? As if they don't want me to eat. They wanted me to starve. I never knew that. And it's pretty fucked up. Because I'm supposed to be your boy. Right? Moving on. Not only I stole honey buns from the store, when I went to my ex-best friend's house, I stole food from his freezer. And since it didn't fit him, I stole his dress jacket and his shirt. Just in case if I was out there getting a job and there was an interview that I have clothes to wear for one. I was seizing opportunities, trying to survive, struggling, and still had the motivation to try to make a living. Because quitting wasn't an option.